The one and only Mr. Steve Coogan. Come on out, Steve. You could have raced them. Steve Coogan. Great to have you here, Steve. So, listen, I hope you don't feel left out that we didn't invite you into the race
well,
there.
I did. I ran a marathon a year ago, you know. And
Did you really?
Yeah, I did 4 hours, 45 seconds.
Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not.
It's not slow, but it's not that fast time.
But on a sprint like that, an older fella like you wouldn't keep up with those two youngsters.
Well, no.
You know, I think people, when they think of Steve Coogan still, they think primarily of you as a comic actor. But you're broadening out, certainly. This new movie, it shows you in a new light. It's a media role than the ones we've seen you in the past.
That's another way of saying it's not very funny.
Well, it's funny at times, but it's not meant to be funny all the way through, is it?
It's a drama. I mean, it's a drama with funny bits.
So the film's called Look of Love, and you're playing Paul... Is it Paul Raymond or Paul Raymond?
It's Paul Raymond or Raymond, whatever. He was the man who basically transformed Soho and introduced the notion of nudity to London and strip clubs and what was most famous, the Raymond Review Bar, at a time when when naked women didn't really exist, in terms of like being able to look at them.
And he made himself into one of the richest men in the country in the process, didn't he?
Well, he did. I mean, he ended up... When he died, he owned most of Soho, and in fact, still, his estate owns most of Soho.
Wow.
When Soho was a very seedy area, he bought up all the property, and now it's a very trendy area, and of course, it's worth a lot of money now.
But people have changed a lot since the 70s. I mean, when you look back at the kind of the magazines that Paul Raymond published...
which, of course, we grew up with.
Yeah, and they
part
were...
of our education.
And they were very, very much appreciated at the time, but it's very different to the kind of things that people see now. And
I mean, looking back at the sort of thing that people regard as porn in those
days... Well, there's a cover of one of them from the 70s, and that's...
Yeah, it looks actually a bit almost quaint compared with what you can get access to these days. And, of course, all the women had to, in the scenes with me, had to wear what they call merkins, which are pubic wigs. Sort of uncomfortable, nervous laughter.
So why were they wearing them? Is this for their modesty, or is this just to try and make them look more like...
Well, it's sort of a bit of both, really. A bit for their modesty, so they could say that they weren't actually showing anything, but actually to be faithful to the period when they did actually wear those...
They didn't wear them, they grew them.
They grew. I
mean, back in the days when women used to wear pubic hair and then take it off and hang it up by the side of the bed.
Well, they might have done. Around.
Oh, you were a late starter, Steve.
But they'd come, the glue would come undone sometimes, and they'd start sort of, you know, someone would have to run in and sort of like glue it back on. You know.
So a bloke.
And of course, we were able to trim some off and use it as my moustache in the
OK. It's set in the 60s and 70s. It comes up to, I guess, well, fairly close to the present day. That period, it's very easy to romanticise it. And certainly when you see it on screen, it does look spectacular. Did you enjoy wearing the clothes? Did you like the sets?
Oh, totally. Do you know what? It's funny. In the 1980s, we used to have these parties, where you dress up in 70s clothes and think they look ridiculous. But now I actually think they look rather cool. And I had these sort of these 70s suits where they had these big flared trousers and gathered waists and big kipper ties, and I think it's actually rather fetching.
The orderly fabric. Let's have a look. It suits you. I think you look much better in those clothes than this thing you're wearing now, which is it's an odd kind of combination of brown Jeremy Clarkson boots with the...
I think there's pots and kettles going on here.
I won't even start there. Let's have a look. This is Steve in The Look of Love.
My name is Paul Raymond. This is Fiona Richmond. Fiona Richmond is starring in the West End farce Let's Get Laid, starting this Thursday night. If you enjoy, as I do, looking at nude ladies, please do come along. You shan't be disappointed.
Disgusting.
No, it's not disgusting. It's perfectly natural. If it's good enough for Lady Godiva, it's good enough for Fiona Richmond.
That's enough now. Enough fun. Get off.
Sorry, everyone.
Come on. You've had your laughs. Come on. All right, get rid of the horses. Come on.
There you go. The Look of Love, it opens on April the 26th. That's next Friday, I think. I think it'll do very well for you. I imagine it'll be a hit. Steve, do you miss doing Alan Partridge? He's such an incredible character, such an incredible creation. The movie is coming out soon, so I know you're doing him again. But I get the feeling that he's something... You know, it is a defining role for you, isn't it?
Alan's like a sort of a friend of mine, really, who I become now and again. People say, oh, do you like doing... It's like a relative who you quite like to see now and again, but you don't want to live with.
Yeah.
And whenever I've done Alan, you know, when you work on doing the character quite a lot, I mean, because although Alan's funny, he is a bit annoying, And, I mean, it might be all right watching for half an hour, but imagine sitting in a room with him for 3 months. That's what you have to do when you write it. So,
So do you get kind of sick of him by the end of
you
a period?
do get sick of him, because it's like being in the room with an idiot. But then what you do is you leave him alone for a while, and then after a while you start to miss him. And I might walk down the street. Actually, what's quite odd is even on my own, I might walk down the street and look at something in a shop window and mumble to myself as Alan what he might say about it, and then chuckle to myself quietly on my own. So I look like one of those mad people on the tube. And that's when you start thinking, oh, it'd be quite nice to do him again. So the point is with Alan is I only ever go back to doing him when I want to do him, not when other people want me to do him. And because of that, because we're not saturated people with him, then people are always pleased to see him.
There's always an appetite for him. But you're not doing the catchphrase he had in his talk show when he had the series with aha.
Yeah, which I still get that. We only ever said that in Knowing Me, Knowing You about 18 years ago, but people do still shout aha.
Well, when I spoke to him on the phone today, I didn't mean to, when he picked up the phone, I went aha, and I thought, oh, why did I do that?
No, but the thing is, what I used to do was when people would shout it at me, I'd just ignore them and walk away, and then I thought, no, I'm going to try the opposite. Someone started to shout aha, and I ran straight up to them and went aha! All right, OK, all right, leave me alone.
That's the way to deal with it.
Yeah.
That must be exhausting.
Yeah.
But you're dropping that catchphrase? He doesn't use that anymore? Or
he doesn't use it in the film, but, I mean, we do these sort of webisode things. I mean, it's not like... I mean, it's just not in the film.
Yeah. So the Alan Partridge movie, this is a proper movie. It's a proper movie. It's going to be at cinemas. It's going to be out in August, I think, is what you're planning. So you must have finished it, I guess.
It's all finished. We're editing it right now. We're trying to take out the unfunny bits and just keep the funny bits.
That's always a good plan with the comedy. What's it called?
It's called Alpha Papa.
Silent. Yeah. Well, you can treat this experience as market research if you want. How about Alan Partridge, the movie?
Well, I wanted to call it Alan Partridge in Hectic Danger Day. Which has got a titter, which is better than the utter silence.
Well, I think Alpha Papa, everyone thought it was some sort of clever, ironic joke. So Alpha Papa would be what if it was a code thing?
Alpha Papa is Alpha, you know, the police alphabetic...
Fox,
sort of,
Tot, Trot, Tango,
yeah,
those
and all
things.
that sort of...
Alpha Papa.
Alpha Papa is Alan's initials. I don't know.
Be honest, I've got to be honest.
It wasn't my idea, to be honest.
It's probably the worst film title I've ever heard in my life, and I'm thrilled you've come on the show and we've dealt with this early to save you from the crushing disappointment if you were to release a film that you've laboured long and hard on called Alpha Bloody Papa and no one goes to see it.
There's no bloody in it.
What's the story? What's the plot? How much can you say?
Well, Alan is in Norwich and he's DJing on North Norfolk Digital. But a big, horrible company called Goredale Media, a bit like News International, comes along to take over the radio station and rob it of all its personality and change it to from North Norfolk Digital to Shape.
Yeah.
And there, lots of people get sacked, and it all goes... And basically, to cut a long story short, it ends up in... there's a big siege at a radio station, and all the world's media descend on it, and Alan is at the centre of it as a kind of the negotiator between the
old and the new.
The gunman and the police outside. And it's...
I'm really looking forward to the Partridge movie, and I'm hoping, and I'm sure it will, that Look of Love will be a big hit for you. Because I imagine, is that where you want to go more into straight acting? I know it's a comedy as well, but, you know, it's a bigger role,
I like to do a bit of everything, Jonathan, as well, you know.
It's great to see you again.
Nice to see you.
And I'm thrilled you're doing so well. I'm thrilled there's more Partridge coming as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Coogan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. OK. Don't go away.